All right. So we are meeting tonight to go over our town hall items. And again, that's where we talk about all of the areas in the greater Houston region that we are working on. My name is Jackie Medcalf, and I will be presenting tonight along with our assistant director, Rachel Jordan. And before we get too far into the presentation, I just want to go over a little bit of housekeeping. Everyone's lines are currently muted. If you have a question, you can go ahead and drop that into the chat or jot it down, save it for the end. We will get to the Q&A at the end, and you will also have the opportunity at the end to unmute your line and engage that way if you would like. All right, so something new that we are introducing tonight is a shift in how we talk about our projects across Houston. So, as I mentioned earlier, we are working in three areas across town, and for many years we have operated one of our projects under the name the San Jacinto River Coalition. That is the community coalition that I was involved with actually before the founding of THEA, that really led to the founding of THEA. And over the years as THEA, we've really struggled with how to name our projects as we take them on because we're not necessarily just working with the Superfund site or the site of contamination. We're also working with public health in the area. We're also working on just a major educational platform. And so we have come up with we've made the decision that we are going to call each of our communities by coalition names because at the end of the day, that's what we're doing. We're building community coalitions. We're building these groups and networks of diverse people, communities, businesses, churches, schools, not just one single community adjacent to a site or on top of a site. There's a vast network here that we work to bring together and inform and create a movement with. So typically, you have heard us call the Jones Road area the Jones Road site, and now we are going to be referring to that as the Cypress Community Coalition, and that's going to be the area that works with the Jones Road Groundwater Plume Superfund site. And then the Northeast Houston Coalition, that is going to be what we have to date called Greater Fifth Ward or Fifth Ward. So that area is literally just northeast of the city of Houston. And so from now on, we will be calling that Northeast Houston Coalition. The acronym is NHC, which ties into how some folks, especially the local folks, know their town to be called the Nickel. So we're really excited to shift in this direction, have some coalition consistency for you guys. And so you will notice this change across all of our contact points, whether it's social media, email, in person. So keep an eye out for the name changes. All right. So first tonight we are going to dive into the San Jacinto River coalition updates. And first, the updates regarding the San Jacinto River Waste Pits Superfund site. We're going to have very brief updates on the southern impoundment and the northern impoundment. We did meet with the community last week, so we will keep it brief just in case any of you missed it, and then one new update. For the southern impoundment, this is an overview or drawing of the southern impoundment. And just to update you, the pre-construction field sampling is complete. To date, there were over 200 boring samples or boring locations to take samples to make sure that they have fully delineated, fully outlined the areas that need to be removed. And the physical removal of these areas that you see in green here, physical removal of these areas that contain the high concentrations of waste are expected to be the removal is expected to begin this fall. All right, we got a lot going on here, so uh, look out, eyes. I know it's a lot, but some good stuff here to cover. Now for the northern waste pit. So this is in a bit of a different place in the Superfund process. It's not quite as far along as that southern pit that we just touched on. So for the northern waste pit, we recently reviewed the four technical documents that were released. From the responsible parties consultants to the EPA and then released publicly. And we have some striking takeaways from reviewing these technical documents. And I want to review a few of those with you tonight and let you know that we have populated a letter that we would love for you to sign, and we're hosting it on our website. It's a letter supporting these points that we're going to go over, and we ask that you, if you support our position, that you would sign this letter, and we will send it to the EPA, letting them know, that the local residents, even people all the way down to Galveston, care about this being done right. And some of the things that the letter mentions is one, that we saw that in these documents, the training was required for workers who go on to the northern pit for removal of the waste, but it was only specific to what type of equipment they were going to be operating. It was recommended that a worker going on site would be trained for the site specifics, for the contaminants at that site. And we're just not okay with that. Anyone going onto a highly contaminated site to work on the construction effort to unearth that material, they should be trained also on the site specifics, not just how to operate that equipment that they're going to be using, but what is there around them, and the specifics of how the contaminants operate, how they could be exposed. There's a lot of important things that these workers should be made aware of. So we're asking that the EPA require site specific training. Another thing we noticed in the health and safety plan, this is a plan that every worker who goes on site, whether they are collecting trash, the site manager, a construction worker, excavating material, they are required to sign off that they have reviewed the health and safety plan. And this plan has a variety of important information on it. Sorry about that. And some of that information tells them what types of chemicals can be found at that site, how they can be exposed to them, what they should do if they were to be exposed to them. And much of this information is typically in the back of the health and safety plan in what is called safety data sheets. Pretty standard documents in this industry. And there are not any safety data sheets in the health and safety plan. So those sheets, like I said, that would tell the construction worker how they should respond if they get the waste material on their face, if their clothes get drenched in it, if that's even a concern. Do they maybe just think they're getting wet by some mud? No, likelihood is that it's not just mud, right? So these data sheets must be required to be a part of this plan so that folks can know how to truly protect themselves. Another issue that's been a long standing concern of the residents is, as the trucks leave the site with the contaminated material, that those trucks and the construction equipment that's used on site be required to go through a decontamination zone. So essentially an area where their equipment and vehicles will be washed and decontaminated and inspected to make sure that they're not carrying this material off-site unintentionally on their vehicles and dropping it along the roadways as it leaves the site and heads to its final destination. The last item here that I wanted to bring up that I know is really of great community concern is we're asking the EPA to require emergency response equipment and supplies to be stored nearby. When Hurricane Harvey struck our area and this site was close to being destabilized from the damage of Harvey, the repairs to stabilize this northern pit in the river were delayed by weeks. because of an issue with getting material here from the Mississippi River. That's ridiculous. Our communities, Galveston Bay, the San Jacinto River, should not have to be at risk like that because of delay in bringing emergency response materials here. So we are asking that the EPA require these materials to be kept nearby. So as I mentioned, we have the letter live. I see I'm actually already getting emails through. So thank you, those of you who are already going and signing that. Please keep it up. If you haven't signed it, please consider it, and we will submit it to the agency. All right, now I am going to go ahead and pass the presentation over to Rachel Jordan for her to cover our next community coalition.
Thanks, Jackie. So we're going to be talking about the Cypress Community Coalition, formerly known as the Jones Road Community. Jackie, you can go ahead and go forward a slide. Thank you. All right, so since our last meeting within the community, we've been meeting and coordinating with local elected officials to help us put pressure on the agency to get a plan of action in place to start protecting human health and the environment around the site. We have had some pretty great luck getting community and local elected officials involved and interested in this site and what has and has not been going on. So we're excited to continue working on those relationships. And while we continue to work on that, we are also awaiting the most recent or the upcoming 5-year review for this site, which we are expecting to get towards the end of September of this year. So as soon as we get more information on that, we will definitely be letting you guys know. And then last but not least, our university partners have officially gotten final approval from their internal review board for the sampling project that we've been so excited about for the past few months. So we can officially announce that THEA is partnering with University of Texas Medical Branch and Baylor College of Medicine, and and they're going to be facilitating the sampling and the data analysis for all of the locations that we end up getting around this Jones Road Superfund site. While we wait for the sampling to start, which we're expecting probably within the next couple months, we'll get more information and start getting all of that stuff set up with the universities. So while we wait for that, if you would like to have your air or water sampled for this sampling project, please reach out to us at info@txhea.org. And we will definitely get you on our list as a participant for this sampling project. Jackie, back to you.
Awesome. Thanks, Rachel. And I know that when we met with a local group recently, they were asking, what can we do? What can we do? And so, we went through the longer document that we have submitted to the EPA regarding the 5-year review and pulled some of those main points and have the link I saw dropped there in the chat. So thank you for everyone's feedback today. And thank you, Rachel, for your presentation there. All right, so now for the Northeast Houston Coalition, formerly known as our efforts in Greater Fifth Ward. Some really great progress here. And I'm excited to tell you about this and some of the events that we have coming up. It is going to be a busy month and a half for these efforts here. And so on March 14th, the EPA headquarters submitted a letter of recommendation to Texas Commission on Environmental Quality. And that was comments on Union Pacific's permit application under the RCRA process. So that's the Resource Conservation and Recovery Act. Unlike the other two sites we talked about this evening, this site is not a Superfund site. It is a facility that is still operating today. And that's one of the big distinguishments between a RCRA site and a Superfund site. Superfund is typically abandoned sites where it's no longer an operable area, whereas this rail yard is operable today. And so anyways, EPA headquarters, like I said, not our region, but Washington, D.C. headquarters, submitted a letter to the state recommending a variety of things around the proposed cleanup in this permit application, but also communication. And, this really showed us two main things. It showed us first and foremost that the EPA is sinking their teeth into this. The state has oversight here, but the EPA is making it clear that they are looking through everything related to this site and really, really digging in. And I think that is absolutely fantastic because in our state, the TCEQ tends to not really dig that deep or push that hard when it comes to standing up to polluters, making things be done correct. In fact, a little fun fact, something that we're working on when it comes to policy change is that there are state Superfund sites, abandoned historical toxic waste sites that are under state oversight. And the state law actually requires that those sites receive the cheapest remedial option. So our laws require TCEQ to choose the cheapest cleanup for Superfund sites under state oversight, which is crazy. The federal Superfund sites have like 9 different criteria that they have to evaluate the remedial options of, whereas the state says the cheapest one, go with the cheapest one, which we know the cheapest one is oftentimes not the best thing to be done at a site. So it's really good that the federal EPA is digging into the site, making sure that the deficiencies are cleared up, that they're taken care of, that they're no longer there. And the other thing that the EPA digging in really tells us, that the EPA's letter really tells us, is that they're listening to the community. They made it clear that the community needs better communication and made several recommendations. And I am really excited to share with you that this middle part right here, that the EPA is actually going to be joining us at our next meeting. And so we will be co-hosting with the community group Impact, and we will be hosting a meeting at Yes Prep, the one off of Benson, and the EPA will join us to discuss their letter with the community. And this is a really great opportunity for folks, from the community, for folks around the area who are interested in this site, to come and hear what exactly it is the EPA is asking of our state agency when it comes to this cleanup, but also or potential cleanup. But it's also an opportunity to have your questions answered, bring your questions to the agency. If you are on here tonight and you are from the Fifth Ward communities, please feel free to follow up with us. Let us know if there's anything we could help you understand to prepare for that meeting. At that meeting, before the EPA presents their recommendations, our team will present on the RCRA process and explain, what exactly the process looks like and what this permit is that we hear so much about, this RCRA permit. So we really want everyone to be as up to speed as possible so we can have a really productive evening with the agency. So that will be again April 19th, and we're going to do a social time from 5:30 to 6. So if you want to get there early to chat with friends, to have some refreshments, we will be there early for folks to come in, but the meeting will start at 6. A couple of other big events that we have going on. One is on April 9th, the Lyons Avenue Renaissance Festival. It is hosted by Fifth Ward CRC. There's an area of that festival that is being called the Environmental Justice Corner. And so there's a ton of environmental organizations that are going to have booths in this one area, and we will be one of them. So we look forward to seeing y'all out there, to talking to you. This event is anticipated to bring thousands of people, and there are 3 different stages that will have live music, so it's going to be a really happening event in Houston. They're actually also going to be dropping Easter eggs from a helicopter, so there's going to be an Easter egg hunt, and they will literally, a helicopter will fly over the event and drop the eggs from above. So pretty cool event for anyone, really, to join us at. Lastly, Texas Commission on Environmental Quality has confirmed that they are themselves hosting a public meeting on May 3rd. So the information is here. You can also find the information for these meetings on our website, on our main page. If you scroll down, there's an events section. And so you can find these details there. But the TCEQ meeting will be at the Deluxe Theater on Lyons Avenue on May 3rd. And this is going to be an interesting meeting and a great opportunity to bring your questions, bring your concerns, and show up. Let the agency know that you care about your community. One of the best ways you can do that is show up. All right, something else I would love for you to show up to. Our first annual Clean Mud for Bugs fundraiser. This has been a long time coming, and the pandemic thwarted it a couple of years ago when we were first planning it. And we are so excited to host this event on April 30th from 1 to 4 at Carbach Brewing. So we will be in the beer garden there. And when you go in the beer garden, all the way down, there's a section that has a huge screen, several tents, its own little mobile unit that will be serving drinks to our guests. Of course, they brew beer, but they also make their own hard seltzers. We'll have tea and water as well. And we're really excited for this chance to share experiences, share our achievements with our supporters, people who've supported us over the years, with our new supporters also. And it's a family-friendly environment, and the tickets are on sale on our website. So if you are not a fan of crawfish, you can get a ticket to the event, which is a drink package. And again, like I said, it's not just beer. There's a variety of options, non-alcoholic as well. And you can join us at the event by purchasing a ticket that way if you are not interested in purchasing a crawfish package. We also have sponsorship packages on our website. And the important thing, no matter what type of ticket you choose to purchase, is that you buy your ticket in advance. We need to know how much food to prepare. So please buy your tickets before the last week of April. And if you're here tonight, you will definitely be hearing from us again about this event, and a reminder when the deadline is approaching. And hopefully y'all will be able to join us. Okay, so a lot going on, a lot of meetings still ahead, and nothing, it's never a dull moment around here. We're not shy to being busy. As you can see, upcoming, we have the Northeast Houston Coalition meeting, as I mentioned, where we will host the EPA on April 19th. Then we have the Jacinto River Coalition meeting on May 10th. That will be followed by Thea's Town Hall on May 24th. And then the Cypress Community Coalition will meet on June 14th. So again, you can find these dates on the events section of our website. It's down a couple of scrolls on the home page, and you will be able to find this information, register for these events, and hopefully you will continue to join us. All right, so now we will go ahead and open up the questions.
So we have one in the chat, Jackie, and it says, has cleanup began at the Union Pacific site yet? And that's from Barbara Beal.
Sure. Hi, Barbara. So there have been activities that have taken place. My understanding is they have done a bit of source removal where they have um, used equipment to extract some of that DNAPL, some of that creosote from underground. So there are some activities that have taken place over time, but this permit really proposes, the big picture, proposes more of those details of what's going to be done to address the remaining contamination. Rachel, is there anything that you would add to the way I answered that?
No, not really, and not right now. That was we're just kind of in a lull moment waiting for the current comment period to end, and for them to respond to the comments.
Great, thank you.
I did want to point out, because I forgot to mention it, and Jackie, I believe that you slightly mentioned it, for the Cypress Community Coalition, we do have a letter that you can sign on to on our website, and Marissa's going to drop that into the chat for you guys right now. And this just kind of goes over, I believe, what Jackie had said, that our concerns that are currently about this site, which we've been talking to local elected officials about, as well as the EPA. So if you'd like to join us in echoing our concerns for this site, you can sign on to that letter.
Thank you, Rachel. All right, let's see, what else do we have? I don't see any hands raised. All right, so we are getting it set to where you should be able to unmute yourself if you would like to ask a question rather than drop it in the chat. You should now have the capability to unmute your line. It's so great to see so many of you.
Jackie, this is Marlene Lobrecht.
Hey, Marlene.
My question deals with, do you have a cover letter or instructions so that I can provide the link to our League of Women Voters members and community leaders?
Sure. So are you looking for something formal or like a quick blurb to send it in email?
A quick blurb so I can send the
Mhm.
email with the link to the letter so that we can obtain more community members signing on.
Yeah, we really appreciate that. So I'll have our team follow up with you tomorrow. I
Okay.
am like nonstop meetings and appointments tomorrow, so it probably won't come from me, but we will definitely follow up with you so that you can go ahead and get that out in a timely manner because I know y'all are looking for it.
Thank you.
Yeah, thanks, Marlene.
Jackie, this is Carolyn. Could I get you to send me a good picture that I can share of the senior center waste pits? When I
Sure.
send out information where they're located, identifying like on your slide, basically, but identify them because people keep asking still.
Okay. Yep. Gosh, it just goes to show you. Yes, I absolutely can. We can send you one of those aerial views that outlines the sites.
Okay, great. Thank you.
Yeah, yeah, absolutely. Thank you to those who are continuing to sign the the letters on our website. I see the emails keep coming through, so thank you. I really appreciate that. And like I said, showing up to the meetings and using your voice, and signing the letters is one way to do that. And so we carry that with us, to the region, to the project managers, to the head of the region, but also to DC, also to, the EPA. They're at headquarters to let them know the local people care about this. So thank you. All right. Well, we don't have anything else in the chat, and I don't see any hands raised. I guess going once, going twice for the questions. Any last questions, comments, or concerns?
We have just one question from Miss Ann in the chat. It just asks how to get to the letters. We dropped the links to the letters in the chat, and you can also get to them from the community specific page on our website as well.
Perfect. Thank you so much. Okay, thanks, Marissa. We dropped them one more time, and then, like Rachel said, you can get to the events as well as these letters from our website. There's the options you'll have at the top of our homepage.
We have someone in the chat says, will the Greater Fifth Ward April 19th meeting be offered virtually?
Absolutely. It will be offered virtually, and we are planning to continue the hybrid format for our community specific meetings for the foreseeable future. And so you will be able to register to attend virtually on our website in the events section, and that'll get you that Zoom link emailed to you. And that online portion will start when the meeting starts at 6 o'clock. And again, if you're in person, there's that half hour before for the social time if you'd like.
And Marissa went ahead and dropped the link to get to the registration for that meeting in the chat as well.
Perfect. Thank y'all. All right, everybody. Well, I always promise to be respectful of folks' time, and looks like we're going to get out of here pretty early tonight. And we had so much to cover, so I'm just amazed that has taken place. As always, you can email us or contact us through our website or any of our social media. There's a variety of ways that you can get in touch with us if you have any questions or you have any concerns that you would like to share. And then again, utilizing our website, as a resource to find out about the next meeting.
Jackie, real quick.
Yes. Hey, Carolyn.
Just for others' benefits.
Yeah.
Could you explain why the San Jacinto River Coalition page is private right now for them? I know you already explained to me.
Great question. Great point. Not a question, really, but yes, I will. So our San Jacinto River Coalition Facebook page is private now, and that's caused a little bit of issues because people who are on our Facebook page, which we have had that Facebook page for probably over a decade, that goes back to when I was, living in the community and pre-Thea, and we recently have gotten a lot of spam posts on the coalition group. And so we decided that in the settings, quickly that, okay, we should make this private, not realizing that it wouldn't allow people to share posts from there. So a lot of our members like to share, the updates that we post to that Facebook page. They like to share, the meeting announcements, and you can no longer do that. So we've been looking into it. Our understanding is that after 30 days of being private, you can change it back to being public. And then we can just limit how people interact in the group or on the page itself. And so we're not 100% certain that it's going to work because we're finding conflicting information about being able to go back to private or not, or back from private or not. And so nonetheless, it's it's been a little frustrating. Hopefully we will be able to change the settings to where people will again be able to share from that Facebook. So yeah, thank you, Carolyn, because I know some folks have been confused when they've tried to access the page, you know, like yourself, you've tried to access it and could no longer see what was taking place in the conversation. But then others, you know, trying to share stuff out of there that no longer can. And I see Marissa also went ahead and dropped the link to our San Jacinto River Coalition Facebook group on the chat, in the chat. All right. I see that a couple of folks unmuted themselves. Not sure if you have a question or a comment. I see we have Carla and Glenn.
No, no questions. Just joined in to listen in.
Okay. Okay, great. Thanks for joining us. All right, everybody. Well, we will go ahead and conclude the meeting now. Please feel free to connect us directly, and we look forward to seeing you at one of our upcoming community events or meetings. Have a good evening.
Good night.
Good night.